so much younger than today. I never needed anybody's help in any way.
Today, we are doing a recap of the 1965 British musical comedy adventure film Help, starring the Fab Four: John, Paul, George and Ringo. The film begins with a ritual of a religious cult preparing for a sacrifice to their goddess Kylie, led by the chief priest, Clang. When Clang was about to stab the female sacrifice, Ami, the high priestess, notices that the girl is not wearing the sacrificial ring. They cannot sacrifice the girl if she is not wearing the sacrificial ring. Clang immediately asks to find the missing ring, and they see who is wearing the ring. It is the Beatle Ringo wearing the sacrificial ring.
Help, I need somebody.
Clang planned an immediate departure for London to retrieve the ring. Clang, Buddha, several cult members, and High Priestess Ami leave for London and begin the pursuit of the ring. Ami attempts to steal the ring at the sandwich machine in the Beatles' house. Clang asked Ami if she got the ring and said no. When the night comes, Ami tries to take the ring but she can't get it off until Ringo falls on the floor and wakes up. Ringo wakes John up and asks if he's messing with him. He said he will not do that. The next morning, Clang sees Paul and offers him gold but he refuses. Ami, mesmerized with Paul, told Clang that he is not the Beatle with the ring. Ami giggles as she looks at Paul. John comes out and Clang greets him. Still the wrong Beatle. Clang sighed. He can't find the right Beatle because they all look the same to him. The Beatles leave and they follow. In the next few weeks, 5 more attempts were made to steal the ring. First, at the elevator. Second, at the post mailbox. Third, the weighing scale. Fourth, in the restroom. Everyone laughed when Ringo said that there is more there than meets the eye. The 5th attempt happens in the recording studio.
You're gonna lose that girl. You're gonna lose that girl.
Clang's man saw the floor of the studio and it fell with Ringo. Clang tries to cut the ring but Ami hits him with a cymbal and helps Ringo flee. Clang's group is now in place and ready for the next attempt. The Beatles went out to find out more about the ring. They entered an Oriental restaurant and they asked someone who knew the ring and he blurted out the name of their god Kylie and ran away. Outside, Clang's men replace the guard at the entrance and take the restaurant crew inside. Even the performers on the stage are replaced by the cult members. Clang poses as waiter and compliments Ringo's fascinating ring. Ami gets the chance to tell Paul that Ringo is in mortal danger because he is wearing the dreaded sacred sacrificial ring of the goddess Kylie. She explains that a victim is offered to dread Kylie every day. All are happy to go and he who wins is privileged to wear the sacred ring in 24 hours. At the end of the happy day, he is slaughtered with a knife. The same story that Clang and his man are telling Ringo, and that he has only 3 hours to live before a new victim is chosen, and that's him. Ringo says that he got the ring from a lady in a fan letter. Clang encouraged Ringo to call the authorities and send back the ring to the lady so she can go to Kylie. Ringo tries to take off the ring but he can't, so he allows Clang to remove it. Clang marks the hand of Ringo where it will be cut off. Ami sees it and he yells to flee because the cultist is going to cut Ringo's hand with an axe. The man misses, and the Beatles flee. Next, they go to a ring specialist. He tells them that it is not a stone. Ringo pleads with the jeweler to get it off. The jeweler tries a metal cutter but it breaks. Ringo hurries the jeweler because he only has 3 hours to live. But the jeweler failed. Next stop is the nearest scientist. They explain to him what happened. Professor Foot plans to expand the molecules of the ring so it will grow bigger and drop off. Foot asks his assistant Algernon to turn up the voltage because the ring didn't drop off the first time. John confronted Algernon because they were going nowhere. He answers that it's just the wrong voltage. As the voltage increases, Ringo started shaking and his rings fell one by one but the sacrificial ring. John accuses Foot of being a mad scientist. And because the ring did not fall off, Foot got interested in the ring and wanted to have it, saying he could rule the world with that ring. He asks Algernon for the laser but before he could start, Ami appears and threatens to shoot the Foot if he won't release Ringo. While they are trying to release him, Algernon is preparing the laser. He strikes at them but fails, because he uses the wrong plug. The members of the cult chase them around London. Inside their house, the Beatles are rehearsing their song.
Everywhere people stare.
Ami is with the Beatles. She tells them that at this moment, Ringo is safe, because it was her sister that was chosen, and no other can be sacrificed to Kylie. Her sister is safe now, and rises up. And a new day dawn, a new victim is chosen. And at this moment, it is death to him who wears the ring. Ami brought out a vial of solution that would shrink Ringo's finger. Outside, Klang's group is trying to get inside the house. He assigns men to paint Ringo red, and then kill him. Inside, Ami is getting ready to inject Ringo with the solution she brought, when they hear the doorbell rings. Ami told them not to open the door, because it is Klang. She accidentally dropped the syringe on Paul's thigh. It was too late when she notices it, while the three are looking for Paul. Meanwhile, Foot and Algernon arrive at the Beatles' place. Klang's group gets inside the house, and attacks the Beatles. While the shrunk Paul hid himself in the ashtray. The cultist pours the red paint on Ringo. He was about to be killed when Foot entered and opened fire. The two cultists rush to go out and Klang calls out to withdraw. Foot asks who among the three has the ring. Algernon pointed at Ringo. Ringo is giving the ring away, but still, he can't get it off his finger. Ringo is stomping, and John thought he stepped on Paul, who is suddenly back to his normal size and glad that the solution wore off quickly. Paul is surprised to see the professor who runs out of bullets, when he tries to shoot John, and so, they leave. They look for Ami, who has already left and is now on the train.
I think I'm gonna be sad.
Just as they thought the Alps are seemingly safe to ski, Foot and Algernon are also there watching the Beatles having fun. They snatched Ringo but got away because the rope was cut. On the other side, Klang is there too, waiting for a chance to steal the ring. Foot formulated an explosive, and gave it to George, but he was quick to notice and the people dispersed instantly. Buddha and Klang blocked the Beatles but got through. Ami is also on the scene, to rescue the Beatles. The Beatles go to Scotland Yard, which is the Metropolitan Police headquarters, and there, they meet with the chief superintendent to seek protection for their next day recording. To protect the band, they recorded their song in the military field surrounded by soldiers.
You don't realize how much I need you.
Back to Klang, he is being updated by Ami with false information about the situation. Klang orders Ami to leave and he will take over. He also orders Buddha and his men to stand by. He lights the explosives and leaves. From outside they throw plates and shoot them to explode. Just before the Beatles end their song, there is an explosion, and they all run away while the soldiers are fighting Klang's men. The tank is following them. They are in a hurry but then, they are all glad to see that Ami is the driver. They all go up inside the tank, and on their way, Buddha fires at them, tries many times until they finally hit the tank. Klang and his men are rejoicing not knowing that the Beatles and Ami are still alive. Next scene is at Buckingham Palace, where the superintendent hides the Beatles. Inside the royal palace, John suggests that Ringo cut his finger off to resolve the issue. While they are talking, Algernon is drilling the wall to insert the tear gas hose. The Beatles see the hose and stick it out the window thinking that the gardener needs it. Foot, disguised as a soldier, comes in and points the gun at them. He asks for the ring from Ringo and suddenly the statue where the hose is wrapped around, falls off and hits Foot. Chief Superintendent takes the gun from Foot and fires. The professor slowly ran away with Algernon. The Beatles chase the two. Foot uses a relativity cadenza to slow the Beatles down. The royal fuse blows and so, the professor fails again. The Beatles go outside with the police for their protection. They see a band that spews red paint, so, they run away and enter a pub. Little did they know that Klang sets a trap for Ringo. Ringo falls into Klang's trap and the three rush to get out but Klang's men block them. They jump out of the window and break the glass. Down below, Ringo is looking for a way to escape. He tries the ladder but it breaks. He just wonders why all the rungs have been neatly sawn in the middle. Finally the three got out and saw the superintendent. The chief ordered his men to cover all exits. When Clang hears the commotion outside, he puts back the glass to close the trapdoor. Back to Ringo, he sees the tiger approaching him and hears Ami telling her not to move. The three and the superintendent open the trapdoor and see the tiger. Everyone sings Ode to Joy by Beethoven to tame the tiger, and they were able to save Ringo. They fled to the Bahamas, escorted by the police officers. Still, they are being followed by Professor Foot and the cult members.
Oh, I have got another girl.
Clang's group chases the Beatles. Ami has prepared a hiding place for them, which turns out to be the cult temple. She let them pass through the center of the table and swim to escape. While they were out, John and the rest of the Beatles decided to go back, find the temple and get them. Clang is setting up another trap to steal the ring. The Beatles followed Buddha's lead to get to the temple together with the superintendent and his team. The Beatles fell into the trap, but George, the professor, takes Ringo and George was quick to get into the car. Algernon tried to get rid of George, but their car broke down. The police came to rescue George and Ringo. Superintendent carries out his plan, which is to have John, Paul and George pose as Ringo, but fails. Professor Foot captures Ringo, together with Algernon, aboard a boat. They are preparing to cut Ringo's finger, but the generator is not starting because there's sand in it. When Foot and Algernon went down to fix it, Ami came to help Ringo, bringing with her the shrinking solution. Foot saw Ami and took the solution which he desires now, because it is the Nobel Prize he is after, letting go of Ringo's ring. Ami and Ringo dived into the sea, but Ringo couldn't swim, and so they were both captured by Clang. Ami is tied up while Ringo is being painted by Clang's followers. The cult members brought their statue on the beach, and they started their ritual. Ringo broke free from the tie and was surprised when the ring suddenly came off. He puts the ring on Clang's finger and Ami tells him, "He who wears the ring," and they start the sacrifice while Ringo informs the Beatles that the ring came off when he shows courage. Clang was able to get the ring off his finger while the police are arresting everyone. That ends today's story. Thank you for watching Movie Recap. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and turn on the notification bell for more videos like this.